Well, it's Saturday morning, and I do like my weekends off, and you can hear my voice is a bit croaky, so I haven't been up long, but I've agreed to meet a really nice guy who I've took to. He's having problems with his crafter van. It's got some strange things going on with it. Oh, squirrel. Did you see him? He's a beauty, isn't he? You know, going off subject, I really do like tree-lined roads. You don't see much of this nowadays. We love being in North Yorkshire, and normally the council cut all these back, and it's just, you know, glum looking, but check out the car going past and the scene of the tree-lined roads. You know, this is something from my childhood that I used to admire about this country. Really beautiful. But yeah, I'm just going down to our unit, QCS Engines, and I'm going to see this nice guy and have a chat with him. He's got some really strange things going on with his van, and we'll have a look at that, eh? Speak to you soon. I've just stopped to let the chickens cross the road. It's a lovely place where we live here. The wildlife is rife and runs mostly free. Deers, hares. We've seen partridges as well round here. I think they're for the shoot, unfortunately, for the poor little things. But just check out the chicken and hare chicks. Beautiful. Sorry they've had to zoom the camera in. It's a bit shaky, but I thought I'd just show you that as well. Just fire it up, mate. Let's have a listen to it. This is a 2-litre 16-valve crafter engine. Touch the throttle a bit. Oh no, turn it off, turn it off. No, that's just not sweet, is it? And you were saying about the oil, just give the people a flash of the oil, because this is the most intriguing point. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. That's actually like a jade green colour, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, and it's, you said the oil's pretty black in the dipstick, didn't you? Do you want to pull the dipstick for us? Let's have a look at that. Yeah, nice and black. So that's some weird byproduct gassing up off of the engine, isn't it? That's what we think. And like I said, we can send this oil off and have it analysed in a laboratory, so we'll know what's been going on there. But what I'm most worried about is that thudding, that like knocking, clumping noise. It's, you know, how long's it been doing that, mate?
Since we've had it all retimed, mainly, but I can't be actually accurate. It may well have done it before, but when you're in the car, when you're in the van and driving, you can't hear it.
Yeah, because of the soundproofing.
Yeah, because of the soundproofing and that lot. But it was it's thing, and sometimes it's definitely a sound of that more than a diesel rattle. And it's the not, but you don't hear it inside, but you hear it outside. But it's, as I say, when it's on normal takeover, you can hear just a little.
Yeah, and I heard it more stood at that side over there, listening to the engine pick up, and it's definitely mechanical because it goes in speed, in tune with the engine, doesn't it? So it's, I'm thinking one of the cylinders, you know, and you said you found some roller bearings down in the sump when you had the sump off and cleaned out, because you've done a fair bit to this, haven't you, mate?
Yeah. You know, it's, you know, it had a problem with the oil seal crank done, so that was done. The timing was done. Then it had an issue with the red oil seal light came on. So we've done the sensor,
the warning light. Yeah,
we've done all the filters and all the new oil and everything. And the moment, that's where the greenness is coming from
that
the
is
oil. Green.
I've never seen that before. You know, I've best engine for 30 years.
And then I had the sump taken off, and the pickup and everything all cleaned out. Whilst they were in there, they found half a dozen roller bearings. But because the van drives and it doesn't, and it's not rattling its ass off all the time, we just thought it may well have been from a previous.
Encounter event
from the top.
Yeah, but maybe a belt outage or something, or timing slip.
Yeah,
do you think?
But at the moment, there's, as I say, it drives, but the oil, the red oil still comes off. It's the noise more than anything, and the constant feeling of being underpowered.
It's a lovely machine, isn't it? But it's a nice bit of kit. You've got some pretty good power going on in here as well, haven't you? With your your solar system and that.
Solar and 3,000 watt inverter, and it'll have shower and full induction hobs and everything when it's finished.
It's a beauty, isn't it? So it definitely needs saving one way or another, and that's what we're here today on a Saturday having a chat about, isn't it, mate? Just to see what the best idea is really for it. I mean, the thing is, you go down the same route as any sensible thinking person and take it to different places, and they've got certain amounts of abilities and knowledge, you know. With us being engine rebuilders, that's unfortunately the way that I was thinking. You know, you was just asking me, you know, what we think's the best sort of like course of action, and it's intrusive and it's, you know, it's in there. But if your timing has gone out with these camshafts that can knock round and knock the timing out, or even if you've had them camshafts replaced, the valves can be bent slightly at the top or the bottom. So that could be that thudding noise, you know. You could have a slight, you know, bend of the valve, and it's slowly over time, if it's been ran and not addressed, it would carbon up the seat and try and make some sort of seal there. You know, engines don't heal themselves, but they do try, I suppose. You know, metal, once it's been removed or bent, it never goes back on or straight. But as I say, maybe a little bit of carbon's built up in the valve seat, and it's, you know, doing its thing through, a bit of soot picking up in there, not clearing off. Your oil light is concerning, but as we had the previous discussion, you were saying that you had a better switch put on it, a VW switch. One was a different type to the other, and they're both VW switches. Then when you got the other one on, that helped a bit, but it still comes on at different RPM, doesn't it, mate?
It does. Basically, if I keep it spun anywhere between anywhere above 2,000 RPM, which is normal, first, second, third, fourth gear, not a problem. If I'm on a motorway, put it into fifth. It runs a-okay, it's not a problem, but as soon as I come off the slip road and take the thing off, the oil light will come on, which effectively says to me the oil pump is just not spinning at enough pressure at low RPM.
When you drop the RPM,
i.e. if I'm trundling along on a 50 mile an hour road in fifth gear, I'm at 1 3/4 RPM. So it's just not, it's not spinning quick enough for that.
Yeah.
But you know, I can, if I drive around it, towns and that lot, not a problem. If I'm in and around local areas, not a problem.
So it's more on a run, a bit of high speed on the motorway, and then let off, throttle again,
and then literally within 15-20 seconds of me letting that throttle off,
it's found something. But you was talking to other people. I mean, so let's just have a look at the water. You know, it's got antifreezing. There's nothing mixing there. No. You was talking to other people about possible wiring problems and that. You know.
So I've had it to electrical engineers. They've checked it, and there's no wiring problems with anything. And it was him what had identified that the actual sensor was wrong.
Yeah,
basically the sensor what came was set too finely, so it was coming on too quickly for pressure, and if any sort of pressure fluctuations, it were knocking it.
Do you think that was a fault in the manufacturing, because that was a VW part, weren't it?
That was a
genuine.
That was a VW part, and the only thing what was different on it was that it was both the green stroke black sensors, but one had two black chips on either side,
right,
and the other one didn't. And since then, with the other sensor in, if I drove it 50 foot down the road,
straight on. So that wasn't right for it at all.
Literally bump every 2 minutes. Yeah. This one now, this one works a-okay, but it's just what I've noticed on driving it is literally you drive it, you come on you drop it below 2,000 RPM, comes on. If you're on a motorway and you come off a slip road, as soon as you drop that pressure off, boom.
The computer's seen something they didn't like, and it's throwing the warning light on. I mean, that could be a tired oil pump. I didn't ask you how many miles has this done.
204.
Right, depending on the oil changes, quality of oil and the frequency of the oil changes, you know, it's what we always say, don't we? I mean, so I know you're the type of guy that will look after this van, and you know you'll have done all your services, but previous life or just wear and tear. So
the thing is that I've only owned it since Christmas.
Right.
So I've only done.
We're into August now, aren't we?
I've only done 4,000 miles in it, and before that it was a fleet service vehicle.
Which you expect to be well maintained, obviously, being up and down the road a lot and that. And a lot of these vans are, that's the previous life, you know. I mean, the T4s, there was a lot of them was builders' vans, and I think the T5s are a little bit expensive to be a builder's van, so, you know. But, so what we're thinking here is it could have had an event timing somewhere down the line. Has it always had that thud noise, that?
As I say, you know, and I've noticed it more since I've had the belt and everything else all done.
Yeah.
It just didn't sound right
After the belt was changed.
Yeah, it's that.
But you obviously, you know, could we blame that on, you know, mistiming at the time, or a weak spot? No,
I don't think so. The problem is that I can't turn around and say, because it was rechecked the next day, stripped again, make sure all the timing points were absolutely correct, and nothing's been changed, and it still has it, but not as prominent as it was when I first.
It got better on the second time up.
It's just the simple facts of it feels underpowered. It clatters a lot when I'm going uphill under a lot of load.
Yeah.
But on takeover, it's quite a-okay. So yeah, it's a weird one.
It is. I do agree with you. That's why I said I'll come down Saturday and see the green alien blood oil that you've got going on in there, and the noise as well. I mean, the T5 2.5, the AXD, AXE, BNZ and BPC engines, the front-wheel drive PD engines, they had that sort of thud when a cylinder wall had worn out, but they are an aluminium block. This is a cast block, but saying that these do wear on the cylinder walls. More so it seems to be in the T5s, because it's basically the half-brother of the T5 engine. You know, we've had them all apart, and look, there's a few differences, so you can't fit one from the other, but it is that T5 type, you know, T5.1 2-litre type of engine, and the bores wear out and the pistons and everything else and that. And like the one I've just showed you in the workshop there, you know, you think that's been an event that's happened very quick, and sees that engine up. And looking at the oil pump and everything else, I think we're getting to the bottom of that. But the unfortunate thing is, normally it's a big deep look inside, to be truthful with you, to give it an autopsy and find out. I would like to say it was a simple part swap, and everybody goes for that, but what you find is you're spending more bloody money running around them places and not getting a final word of there we are and that's what will fix it, you know. And that's I think what a lot of people come to us, you know. Unfortunately, it's the truth of the matter. But small fixes are nice, and everybody dreams of that, don't they? You know, a quick 50, 100 quid, 300 quid, and drive away happy days. But it just seems that modern engines nowadays just implode a lot of the time. That's what we've seen with the DPFs, the CATs, the EGR valves, the enrichment system to clean the DPF out. You know, they're changing them all the time. So what I'm thinking is, it does sound oil pump, which is right in the bottom end of the engine. Another thing that can cause oil pressure is oil pumps pump volume. They don't create pressure. Pressure is created through the gaps in your engine. If this is, you know, if your bearings are slightly worn, and these do have a polymer coated main bearing on these, which we don't like. When we rebuild the engines, we put a white metal bearing in, a proper hard metal crank bearing, you know, that will do the job. They're aftermarket bearings, but they're a lot better than the ones that a lot of manufacturers put in to only, let's obviously say now, that don't last a long time. You know, they've got a lifespan, where if we put the white metal ones in, that's better. So checking your gaps in your crank, you know, your conrods and your main areas, also underneath your camshaft and other places. We'd like to think that we'd find something in there if we went to this, you know. And also, if you're saying that you found the roller bearings in the bottom of the sump, they're obviously from the rolling rockers, the camshaft followers, not the hydraulic lifters. You know, if you had a proper tap, you'd say hydraulic lifter, but this is more on the side of seeing them bearings, you know, before, and broken up rockers, that something like that may have happened in the past, which then may have knocked your cams out of line because they're a twist round cam, unfortunately. The guys are here next door. We're gonna have to let them in, aren't we? So yeah, we'll round it up there, mate, and have another discussion off camera.